This will be an orientation video that I've set up for our Math 102 Nature of Mathematics class for the fall 2001 at the University of Bridgeport. Now, what I've done here is use some material from previous terms where we did Zoom from time to time, but generally this class will be in a classroom, and it's my understanding it's going to be Dana 130. So we'll take a look at this and a little trip along nostalgia as well as we review what we'll be doing. Now, if you go to the University of Bridgeport site, I'm assuming you all know how to get on, go to Login, and then go over here to where it's called Canvas, and click on Canvas. Something like this will open. I'm only showing you part of the screen, but I'll move my viewing box here around as needed. So there is Canvas, the dashboard, and it's opening up little by little here. And that was the course I taught in 2020. But if we scroll down, these are the courses for our spring term. Section 21 that meets at 9:30 and section 22 that meets at 11. And I believe both of these will be in Dana 130. But more on this as we go. Both of the courses are going to be exactly the same. And if one of them doesn't go, then you can join the other, or depending. But again, what the information I'm giving you is going to be the same for both. So we'll look at section 21 for now. And I've clicked on it, and let's see what happens. It opens up to the syllabus. So let's take a few moments to go through the syllabus. And again, I'm only showing you part of the page here, where there's my name, location, Dana 130. Section 21 meets from 9:30 to 10:45. Section 22 meets from 11 to 12:15. To give you an idea, it's 3 credits. There's my email address and times of class. Now this is the course description. I'm not going to go over it in any great detail at this time. Once you get onto Canvas and the course, you can read it. It has all the specifics there. Course objectives. There is no hard-covered textbook. You get a access code at the beginning of the course, and that will allow you to get an ebook and do all the lessons, the homework lessons that contribute toward your grade. And that's what's described here. And there's class participation. Now, this is something I want to go over in some detail, and that is the class approach and format. In my lessons in this course, we use what is called the flipped classroom, where in the past you might have the teacher writing on the whiteboard in class, and you take these notes in class. Well, what I've done is I've prepared video lessons for you to watch and do at home. So you take it's like a whiteboard for you at home, and you watch and take notes on the lessons I'm giving. And then that way, when you come to class, we'll be working on the homework and doing other things. And then that way, if you want to view the lesson again, it's available. Some students have taken the notes and watched it again just before class to get the repetition, the drill. And it describes that here in detail, and I'll go over that a little bit more with you as we go on. Now, class participation, we will be meeting in class according to current direction But there may be times when we move to a Zoom. For instance, the first week of class will be a Zoom profile, and I'll give you more detail on that as we go on. Now, we do have a workbook and a notebook that we'll be sending out, actually, so you'll have them before class. I'll send you an email asking for your home address in early January once the courses have been set up for sure, and you'll have the notebooks for class. And I'll show you what these are a little later. These make up 10% of your end of term grade. Homework is going to make up 25% of your end of term grade, and I'll show you what that is like too. We'll have 4 tests and the final, and here's the actual breakdown. 10% for notebooks, 25% homework, 10% for the open notes quizzes that we have each day. That will be in the in-class work part. Tester, 40%. Final exam, 15%. Now this adds up to 100%. Now if for some reason we're going to go into Zoom extensively, I'm going to take 10 points off the test and count your participation in the Zoom classes as 10% of your grade. So this could be tweaked a little bit. Here's the point scale. Here is a note that there is a tutoring area, but normally you get all your tutoring with me. That's the kind of good deal here. They talk about plagiarism and cheating. If you're going to send me an email, give me sort of a detailed description of what your question or concern is. Sometimes it's so short I'm not sure, and that would cause additional emails. Now, throughout the term, there are 4 modules that we have. Module 1 includes 4 topics. Module 2, 4 topics. Module 3, 8 topics. Module 4, 7 topics. At the end of each module, we have a paper test. Okay, and then this is just a little bit of what we've just had above in more detail, showing you the test. And then as we continue down the syllabus, you get to where the homework is. So there's 2 ways to get to the homework. You can click on this, or there is another way that we'll be showing you as well. Now the due dates are from last term. These will be updated before the class starts. Okay. I'm back in that original sign-in page, and we're looking at the menu bars on the left. There's the syllabus. If we go down to Panopto Recordings, this is where your actual recording of the video lesson that you will do as part of the flipped classroom presentation. So let's click on Panopto Recordings and open it. And when it opens, you get a screen that looks like this. So we have some CPN Zoom as a folder, and we don't need to look at that right now. That is, if we Zoom, I have some special things posted there. Also, homework helps would be posted here. In this menu bar, we have, when I originally taught the course and had the textbook, I used the textbook to present the lessons. So this is just extra available supplemental material where the textbook is actually used. Once you take a quiz, I post the answer sheet here, so you'll have those. And then there is Unit 1, 2, 3, and 4. And in Unit 1, if I click on that, it looks like this. And if you click on Name, it puts them in chronological order. So there's Lesson 1.1. So what I'll do is I'm going to click on it, and then we'll listen a little bit to it. The first lesson, which is on Unit 1, Topic 1, you'll be doing prior to the beginning of class, and we will ask you to keep your notes on loose leaf of some type. You will bring these notes into class, and we'll have our first quiz. And we'll give you more detail on that as we go on. Now, in Unit 1, we cover these 4 sections, and you don't have to take any notes on anything so far. This is just background. Now, once you get to class, and this will be whenever we meet first, I will physically give you a lecture booklet. And in future lessons, in this booklet, you will keep your flipped classroom lecture notes. And each day, as we mentioned, you will have a quiz using these notes. They are open notes quiz. As we do them and ask questions on our quiz, they will follow chronologically the way we gave the lesson. So what is done in the beginning of our notes will be the first questions, and then in the middle, those questions, and then at the end, we often use examples that are in the booklet, as you will see. Now, this notebook is checked periodically and makes up 5% of your end-of-term grade. The quizzes themselves make up 10% of your end-of-term grade. So, starting now on your loose leaf, section 1.1, real numbers, order, and absolute value. Now, I'd like to show you what your notebooks would look like, and we'll go through a few pages of it, even though you won't have it for the first lesson. Generally, on the left side of the notebook is a blank page, and that's where normally you would put the notes. And over on the right, and we're in section 1.2, there are examples, as you'll see toward the end of the lesson, where we do want you to put answers in there. And if you need to show work, there's usually area to the right here that is free. Showing you another page of this. There's the second page here. There we go. No. There we go. Well, we're all in section 3. So again, you take your notes usually on the left, being clear and neat and orderly, and then working out examples that are associated to your text. Now, a little further into the lesson, it looks like this. So we're using PowerPoint slides where we ask you to write names of the sets, keywords, and this is typically what the notes are like. Now, along with background information that we've had so far, we also have examples that we ask you to write these, 1 pp, that is example PowerPoint, and then I go through these, and these are included on the left side of your booklet. Now, at the end of the lesson, the flipped classroom lesson, we do show you examples that are in the booklet themselves on the right, and work these through, and these should be included in your notes as well. All right, to give you an idea. Now, let's take a look at the notebooks here. This is your homework log, again, worth 5%. On the inside cover, we have a rubric where we keep your score as we check them. If it's up to date when we check them, you get a 5. If it's not, then you get something over in this first column. And what do I expect in the homework notebook? Well, it looks like this. Now, there's lesson 1.1, which is real numbers, that you saw in part of that earlier portion of this video. You are to write the number, an integer between 7.1 and 8.1 is 8. 8 is the answer. That's what you'll be putting into the software. Now, we've titled the lesson, highlighted it, and then these are the questions. Generally on each homework assignment there are 20 questions, and it's due, in a sense, the next lesson. Going on to lesson 1.2, part of it's cut off, but there it is, number 1. The sum of two positive numbers is a positive number. They give you a drop-down menu, you pick out the answer, and then they show you one that is illustrative of this. 18 plus 6 is 24. And the nice thing about homework is if you don't get the right answer in the first shot, you get another shot at it. Now, you don't have to keep writing up all of the errors that you made, but just erase and make it correct as you go on. So that each homework you could repeat as many times as needed, hopefully not too many, until you get 100%. And homework is 25% of your end of term grade. Now, we did mention this earlier. In this course, we use the flipped classroom, and then based on these notes, each class day, whether it's in class or via Zoom, you will have an open notes quiz based on these notes. And you find these in Panopto Recordings. We showed you this already. Now, what does the lecture booklet look like? Well, this is one that I'm hoping to send in early January along with the homework log. This is the lecture notebook. So again, what we do each day, evaluations here, and this is the first page of the notes. Now, it's about sets of real numbers, so my notes I took on the left. Now on the right are items from the textbook that review things that we're doing in the notes. So some of this is repetition. If you recall that little chart I told you in the PowerPoint slides earlier, there it is right there. So we're talking about the different sets of numbers, natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, rational, irrational, the number line, things like that. Continuing on, here is another page. Again, identifying elements, going through the notes, absolute value, and then here are the actual examples toward the end of that flipped classroom lesson. We talked about examples from the textbook. Well, I've written them out here, so again, a permanent copy. Now, I want to stress this is that one of the good deals about good notes, we allow you to use all your notes from this lecture booklet and your homework log on any written tests. So they're open notes tests. So having good notes help you on the quizzes, the daily quizzes, and on your tests. And these are evaluated. Now, what does a quiz look like? Well, here's a typical quiz. In fact, this is our first quiz. So, what is a synonym for natural numbers? Well, as we went through the various sets of numbers, we talked about natural numbers, and we said a synonym for them, or that set, was natural numbers. So that's your first answer. What number do we add to natural numbers to make them whole numbers? Well, again, in the flipped classroom lesson, and if you went back and looked at my notes, you would see that a 0 added to natural numbers make them whole numbers. Now, I'm not going to give you all the answers, but it does really tie in with the notes we give in our flipped classroom as to these open notes quizzes that are a check. Now, if we do it in class, I give you an actual blank paper with this printed up on it, the answer column. I usually have the questions on the screen, and if we're doing it via Zoom, you're going to put this answer column in your homework log, take a picture of it, and then send it to me. And again, depending on the circumstance. So this is what a quiz is like. Good notes, good grades on quizzes. In fact, there's a bonus question on every quiz that if you miss one, you can still get 100. And if you don't miss any, you get 110, which this is a shot of Dana 130 when we were in the pandemic mode of social distancing. And we weren't using some of the computers, and we had students spread out. So the rule is you do your flipped classroom lesson, come into class, work on your homework. I circulate. We have our open notes quiz. You continue to work on your homework, and then when it's time to dismiss, you leave. Also, students who are ahead can sometimes leave a little early to give you an idea what that is like. And so this is not too long, we'll wind up, but if you have a question or concern, email me at hpaulin@bridgeport.edu and I would be happy to reply. I'm Professor Paulin and wish you the best. Stay well, be safe.